Hi, I'm Bart Hanson, the owner and operator of CrushLivePoker.com. The following hand comes from our call-in show that we record at 4:45 p.m. Pacific Time every Monday. If you want to call in your hand, check out the phone number in the description. Okay, so we've got two guys on hold here. From Georgia, Doc York, are you on the
Uh,
line?
yeah. How'd you know my name?
It just popped up. I don't know. You called from your
Wow. Okay.
phone? I was wondering about that too. But interesting name. First
Yeah.
time caller?
Yeah. First time caller.
Cool. How's it going?
Yeah. I played it. I'm actually living in Mississippi now, so I've been going down to the Beau Rivage, and they have uncapped games down there. So I was playing a 2-5 uncapped game,
Okay.
and they also have PLO games and so forth. So this would be a hand from the 2-5 uncapped no limit game.
Beau Rivage is in Mississippi, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's on the coast down there. It's in Biloxi.
Okay, cool. So 2-5 uncapped.
Yeah, and so I'm the effective stack, or I'm sorry, the villain's the effective stack. He's got 1100. It's a 2-5 game, and there's a lot of money on the table. One guy bought in for 4,000. A lot of people are buying in for 1,000. So the villain in the hand actually had just doubled up on a draw like 20 minutes before. He's got 1100, and he's in the big blind.
Okay.
And it's in Mississippi, and so there's a Mississippi straddle where you can straddle anywhere on the table, and the button would have the preference. But actually, there's a guy in middle position who's been straddling a lot of hands, so he's straddle, and I'm in the hijack, and so it's 2-5, the straddle's 10, and these suits make a difference. I have the ace of spades and the king of diamonds, and I raise it to 50. Okay.
Okay.
So, it's about 5 times the straddle, which there's been a lot of action on the table, so it's not an unusual raise size. The guy in the big blind, he just cold calls it to 50, and the button calls it to the 50. So we go to the flop.
Do me a
There's
favor and
three
just
people in
repeat
the hand.
that.
I have position on.
Okay, just do me a favor and repeat the action and exactly where you are once again because of the weird
Yeah, so
straddle.
yeah, so the straddler is in middle position. I have
Okay.
position on him. I'm
Okay.
in the hijack,
Okay.
okay?
And you open to
And so it's a
50.
2-5.
Yep. Mhm.
I open to 50.
Yep. With ace king
And I
offsuit,
have
right?
ace of spades. Yeah, ace of spades, king of diamonds.
Okay.
And the guy in the big blind, who's the villain, he calls the 50. So he
Mhm.
puts another 40 in the pot. Another 45 or whatever.
Yep.
And the guy who's the straddler, who's in middle position, he calls as well. So there's two callers. There's like 150, 152 bucks in the pot.
Okay. Mhm.
So okay, so all right. So the flop comes out 10 of spades, 7 of spades, 3 of hearts, and I have the ace of spades and the king of diamonds. So you know, and it goes check check to me.
Okay.
Okay, so I thought, if I had an overpair, I would bet this flop,
Mhm.
right? If I had aces, kings, or queens, and I'm thinking to myself, if I bet this flop and get called, any Broadway card on the turn, I can continue to barrel on, right?
Yeah, you also have the
So
ace of spades, so it's going to cut down
yeah,
on the amount of hands that your opponent's going to really call you with. So I don't mind a bet here.
yeah. So I
Specifically
thought I
against two
would bet.
people. Mhm.
Yeah, two people. I'm in position. They've checked to me. I'm the pre-flop raiser. I raised a good
Yep.
amount. So I'm thinking, and there's a lot of cards on the turn. Like even if a spade comes on the turn, I'm going to pick up a nut flush draw.
Mhm.
So if a spade or a Broadway card comes on the turn, I can continue to barrel. And I was thinking, if that happens, I could even barrel a lot of rivers. So I mean, there's a lot of good things or I could hit an ace or a king on the turn. So I thought, this is a flop I'm going to go ahead and bet. It's 10-7-3. There's two spades out there. So I actually made probably a too big of a bet. I bet 125 into the pot, which is like 150 or so. So it's a big bet, really.
Yeah, I
And
mean
I'm thinking to myself,
that's a pretty big bet because you probably I mean, the only reason why you would bet big here is if somehow you think that if you bet smaller, a seven will call, or I mean, I don't know how old you are, but a lot of times there's some older guys will get a lot of credit. Like there are situations where I'll fold like if I happen to have ace 10 here, I'll fold to a guy that's betting like huge. But usually the bet in itself though is in error because he doesn't really have any bluffs. So it's like he's just folding out everything that's worse than his hand, and I comfortably fold top pair in those situations. So if a guy actually did that with ace king, and got me to fold ace 10, that would be something. But yeah, usually you want to size down a little bit, especially too because you want to have stack depth as well, like to fire multiple barrels. Like if you bet 125 here and somebody calls, now the pot is suddenly 400. Yeah, they've got 1,000 left, but you just have actually a little bit more maneuverability if you bet, like I would say 75 to 100. But so you bet
Yeah,
125.
it becomes relevant actually, as we're going to find out, because this is a nuts hand. It's crazy, but so anyway, so the guy in the big blind, he calls,
Okay.
and the other guy folds. So there's like roughly 400 in the pot, let's
Yep.
say.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking, okay, what can he have? Maybe he has a 10, maybe he has a 7, maybe he has something,
Right.
But whatever it is, I'm thinking again. So now I'm thinking, okay, all right. So he calls. So now, if a Broadway card comes, it's a good card to barrel on because I'm going to pick up, a Broadway draw. If a Broadway card comes, oh, I'll hit an ace or a king.
Sure.
Or something like that. So the turn card is the Queen of Spades.
The,
Okay.
the queen of spades.
So
Okay,
now
so you
I
pick
have
up a straight draw and a flush
and
draw
a
too.
flush draw.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, so he checks to me. So I thought about this for a second. I thought, well, you know what? I'm gonna barrel this turn with a plan on barreling most rivers. Like if I make my hand on the river, I'm certainly gonna bet, maybe even go all in. And if a blank comes, I think it's a good card to barrel off on. If
Mm-hmm.
it's some anyway. So I bet again. I made a pretty big bet. I bet 200 into a pot of 400.
Well,
Okay?
see, that's actually not that big of a bet. I mean, that's half the size of the pot.
Yeah.
That's definitely smaller than, percentage-wise, 125 into 150. But I
Right.
know in live poker that, at this point, people aren't necessarily looking at the percentage of the pot. They're just looking at the absolute size. I might honestly go a little bit larger than that. I mean, I think that when you bet 125, so he's got about maybe, let's see here, he's got about 900 left. So if you were to bet, say,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
300, then the pot would be 1,000 and you'd have 600 left. Here you bet two, so now the pot's going to be like 800.
If he
Well, excuse
calls, it
me.
would be 800, and he would have
Right,
700 left.
right, right,
Yeah,
right.
I mean, so
So,
I thought about that. I thought, I want to have about a pot size bet. So I bet the 200, and the guy jams. Okay, so
okay.
now, now he goes all in, and the pot's like 15.25, and it's 7.25 for me to call.
It's
And
15.25, 7.25. So you bet 200 and then he jams for what? He's got like
he jams
900, something like that. Okay.
9.25 or
So I'll
something.
take your
Yeah,
word for it. So let's say it's 15.75. How much did you say to call?
15.25, I think. 15.25 and 7.25 for me to call.
15.25 and then 7.25 for you to
For me to
call.
call.
So you're getting
And I
just
think
over 2 to 1. But I mean, the thing is
get
that what
about
do you
2 to 1.
what do you think that he has? That's the question because you have the
Well,
ace of
this is the
spades.
thing. This is the thing. I'm saying, there's no straight draw that gets there. Okay, there's no straight draw. There's no straight out there.
Hmm.
And I'm thinking, if the guy had a set on the flop, I would expect a check raise on the flop probably.
Okay.
I'm thinking, he's unlikely has a. I mean, maybe he has Queen 10. He has two pair or something. And this is what set me off. I'm thinking to myself, I can't put him on a reasonable hand here. It doesn't make. I mean, I
Why
had
can't he have
difficult.
why can't he have a flush?
Yeah, I mean, well, because I had the ace of spades, I thought it was just unlikely. I mean, he could have a flush, and if he has a flush, then I have maybe 7 outs, right? Because he's got 2, and then
Well, I mean, the
out
thing that
there
I
or
mean, I would
whatever.
think about it in this way too. I mean, you're probably right that there probably isn't that much of a chance that he has a set. He probably wouldn't slow play it, but I mean, there are 9 combinations of sets on the flop. Maybe 1 out of 9 times he has a set, and then let's look at Queen 10 too. He decides to jam that, and then he has
Yeah,
flushes
right,
though
right,
too. I
right.
mean, the best case scenario that you can actually be up against is him having Queen 10 because none of the queens and the tens that come from what you've said, the spades are already out on the board, so it's not like you have your full
Right.
complement of 9 spade outs and 3 gut shot outs to a jack,
So I
but
mean,
you still can't
yeah, I
call
have
though.
gut
But
shot
even if he
outs,
shows
and I
you,
have the
but even if he shows you Queen 10, you can't call with 12 outs, getting 2.1 to 1 with 1 card to come. You're not getting the right
yeah.
price. And if he's got
That was my
spades,
problem.
If he has spades, you only have
So I
seven
thought
outs.
about this. Yeah, if he had, that's what I'm thinking. Like, but the other thing I was thinking was this. I was thinking, it's possible this guy is just jacking around because I'd seen him maybe 20 minutes earlier when he doubled up. He had gone in on a straight draw and he hit it or whatever. And, so
Yeah,
I was
but
pretty
I
FOMO,
understand what you're
okay?
saying. But if you look at the board though, 10-7-3 with front door spades that turns the queen of spades. You have the ace of spades too, which means he's not like running some crazy bluff. Occasionally you'll see a guy like this run like a crazy bluff with just the ace of spades. Sometimes guys, I've even seen guys like just call the flop with like ace jack with the ace of spades. They're gonna represent even a like a PLO play, the stiff ace of spades, and then they pick up this queen of spades and they check jam.
Right, right.
But you
Yeah.
have the ace of
Yeah, they
spades.
have a dry ace and they jam on it.
Right,
They
right.
have a
But you
dry ace and
have
they
the ace of
jam. It's
spades.
very
So
difficult.
so what is he check jamming with? Do you see what I'm saying?
Well,
Um
I was totally lost. And the thing is that and this is what's happened a lot of times. A lot of times when I'm this confused about what's happening, these crazy guys are on a crazy bluff. And so I just, I said, you know what? I actually turned my hand over, okay? And this guy just looked like he took a crap in his pants, okay? And I called, and you know what he had? He had a king nine with like the nine of spades. So he had like a straight and a flush draw, okay? And the funny thing, Bart, is the river was a jack, and he jumps out of his hand and starts yipping and yawing because he makes a straight. I'm like, listen, buddy, I just made Broadway. You know?
Yeah,
I
I mean,
mean,
I would just say that, I mean, listen, that's kind of, this is a little bit of an outlier situation because the guy is a maniac. Obviously, poker is very, very player dependent, and it's just, when you look at this hand from afar, it's somebody has to be playing incredibly insane, not even necessarily aggressive, just like so wide here because of the fact that his flop call makes absolutely no sense. When you look at the hand
no sense
logically,
at all.
right,
I mean,
but I don't. But it wouldn't confuse me. I mean, I would say that 9 times out of 10, this is value. It wouldn't confuse me that he would check jam a flush. If he's got king nine off, then he has all the flushes. I mean, I don't want to be results oriented, but it just I don't, even if a guy can show up as wide as this, it just means that he has so many other holdings that beat you though. Like he's gonna have all the queen ten offs. He's gonna have all the spade flushes. So it's just one of these things where it might have been right here, but I still don't think I make the call. Listen, I appreciate you, first time caller. It's nice to get that. Thanks a lot, Georgia. Hey guys, if you like what you've seen here, please click on the subscribe button and you'll get notified every time we put up a new video. And if you want to check out crushlivepoker.com for the first month free, use the code YTA100. Click on the link right there.